What was life like for a person in biblical times? Life in biblical times was not actually different from the lifestyle we lead today. But it was a time of change, with new empires rising and falling, wars being fought, and cultures clashing. But what was life like for an individual living during that time? In this video, we will take a closer look at the daily lives of people in biblical times and gain insight into their houses, occupations, and fashion trends. Houses. In the biblical era, archaeological findings introduce us to a rustic lifestyle anchored in family-oriented small villages spread across the hill country. Picture a serene setting with circularly designed villages, providing a sense of security for the residents and their livestock. As time journeyed into the monarchic period, there was an evolution of sorts. The humble villages persisted, but alongside, we witnessed the birth of fortified towns and cities. These urban hubs presented a stark contrast to the unfortified farmsteads, with houses often built abutting and as extensions of the city wall. Both rural and urban dwellings adopted an innovative architectural design that originated during the settlement period and solidified during the monarchic era. Known in scholarship as either the four-room house or pillared courtyard house, these terms reflect the unique layout and construction method of these homes. The four-room label denotes the ground floor's design, featuring a broad room at the back and three long rooms extending perpendicularly from it, possibly serving as a courtyard. The pillared house term describes homes typically built with upper stories supported by pillars made from large cut stones or stacked field stones. This architectural transition marked a significant evolution in living standards during biblical times. Professions. Their profession wasn't just a means to an end, but a lifestyle in itself. In the Bible, we find tales of Adam and Eve's sons, one embracing pastoral duties, herding sheep, while the other opting for the art of farming. These were not just professions, but reflected an intimate relationship with the earth and its creatures. The earliest ancestors of the people of Israel, including the iconic figures of Abraham and Sarah, were far from being urban dwellers. They were wanderers, travelers on an endless journey, their survival ensured by the herds and flocks of animals they nurtured. Keeping herds of animals like sheep and goats was indeed a common way of life for many generations of the Israelites. Initially, these shepherds were wandering nomads, dwelling in temporary abodes of tents, with personal belongings kept to a minimum. Their existence was an endless journey, a continuous search for sustenance and water for their precious flocks. Their survival relied heavily on the flock they looked after, the meat and milk of the animals serving as their primary diet. The wool and hides from these animals were used to craft clothing. When the Israelites settled in Canaan after leaving their life of slavery in Egypt, farming became a more significant way of making a living for them. Grains, such as wheat and barley, were used for making bread and were the most important crop. Grains, as well as lentils and peas, are known to have been cultivated in Palestine since prehistoric times. Unlike farmers in Egypt and Mesopotamia, Israelite farmers did not need to depend on irrigation for water. Even though the rainy season in Palestine was rather short and the soil was often rocky, the farmers' know-how in clearing and fertilizing the land usually produced fine crops. The Israelite farmers learned how to grow crops according to the yearly cycle of rainy and dry spells. They also learned to adjust the crops to what was best for the different kinds of land: fertile plains, rocky hills, and semi-barren areas. Besides these, other professions like fishing, crop rotation, mining, and street cleaning were also a part of daily life in biblical times. As time passed, there was an increase in specialization, with people not just sticking to one occupation but diversifying their skills. Marriages. Marriages were an integral part of biblical times, seen as much more than a bond between two individuals. They represented the union of entire families. It wasn't just a matter of love or companionship, it was a natural duty that both men and women were expected to fulfill. The Jewish community's perspective on marriage was straightforward and pragmatic, with the Apostle Paul even suggesting that marriage served as a deterrent against sexual immorality. That's not to say that Paul was dismissive of celibacy. Quite the contrary. He recognized both marriage and celibacy as divine gifts, and when he advocated for the single life, he did so with a keen awareness of the societal pressure for adult men, particularly religious leaders, to tie the knot. As for the marital ceremonies, these were grand and extensive affairs that could continue for several days or even late into the night. These multi-day festivities were more than just a celebration of the newlyweds. They were a rite of passage, a public declaration of the joining of two families. Jesus even shared a parable about a midnight procession during these wedding festivities, implying that the end of the wedding feast was unpredictable, adding to the excitement and anticipation surrounding the event. Fashion. Fashion at that time was a fascinating blend of practicality and symbolism, with the humble sandal taking center stage. Yes, you heard it right. Those well-worn, dust-covered sandals were not just foot protection but emblematic of their owner in legal transactions. Imagine in the busy marketplace, a sandal is removed to confirm an exchange of buying and selling, even the acquisition of a wife. Stunning, isn't it? But hold your breath, there's more to this fashion tale. Unlike our modern-day fashion trends that change with every season, clothing styles in biblical times were far from fleeting. They endured for generations, steadfast and unchanging as the ancient stones. Yet, despite the longevity of styles, there was an undercurrent of vanity and status display. Rings and other jewelry trinkets served as silent yet compelling advertisements of one's social rank. So, this was a short journey back in time, exploring the lives of people in biblical times. From their homes to professions and marriages to fashion, we have only scratched the surface of this vast topic. Let us know if you want more information about the biblical times, including their entertainment choices, famous dishes, and so on. If you enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also, let us know in the comments if you want to see more videos on similar topics. Goodbye until next time.